Hi there, welcome to Boxing Deep Dive. I'm Lynden Hosking and great to have you along for episode number 53 of our weekly show. And just waiting on my co-host to join, but it is a live show, so the show must go on. We've got a big show for you tonight. We've got all the Aussie news, including a big fight for Jason Waitley this weekend, some news on George Kambosos, a few legal issues, Brown, Goodall, Fleming Dibb, a lot of different stuff, as well as a world scene. I'll bring in, he's just joined now. Let's bring in my co-host for tonight's episode, Grant Tassie Brown. How are you, mate?
We're not on our own, are we, Lynden?
We are by ourselves tonight, mate. It is what it is. Look, as you probably know better than anyone, everyone's got a fair bit going on. I know you're busy with your show. Peter's got a show this weekend as well. I think Noonan Boy's overseas.
Still Peter Splinters Maniatis, my dear friend. Good luck with your show, Peter. Have a good one, champion, because he's one of the best.
He is. So he's got a show. I'm actually not quite sure who it is. I'll quickly bring it up while we're going.
St Kilda Town Hall.
St Kilda Town Hall, which we know very well, of course. Actually, I should have. It was on my agenda to actually bring up this week who was actually on the box rec. So let's have a quick look. Where are we? We're in Australia, aren't we? Of course.
Sure.
I was just letting everyone know, Tassie, we've got some really big Aussie news, world news. If we get time, we'll go through the rankings. I did it on Monday night on Talking Box, and I did an updated pound for pound men and women.
That's really interesting.
Yeah, standalone women's list as well.
Okay.
All right, so just we're going off track a little bit here, but Kane Clark is on, and he's fighting Roldan Aldia, 17-8-1. So that should be a good show. So if you're in Melbourne, want to go see a good show, Melbourne Town Hall, really good venue.
Yeah.
So
Kane Clark's a very exciting lightweight. He's a good fighter.
He is, mate, for sure. So if you are joining us live, make sure that you jump in the comment section there. We'll go through the agenda, but if you've got any questions, comments, whatever you want to throw at us, put them in there. We'll do our best to answer it. And we're trying to sort of build the show as far as not just the recorded version, but the live version where hopefully you guys get a little bit more out of being able to interact on the spot.
Look, Lynden, at the end of the day, no one's better than us doing this stuff, mate. No one has the pedigree that we have. And there's no disrespect to anyone. I respect everyone that's doing stuff for Australian boxing online and all these shows. But you're a former Olympian, champion fighter. I'm Australian rep, undefeated pro, sparred the best, trained with the best. Trained under Johnny Lewis, Jeff Fennick, and Billy Hussein. To me, you have to have been in the ring and a good quality to speak this game. It's okay to be a journalist, but nothing like me and you. So me and you, we've got nothing to worry about, Lynden. We are number one. Not that it's a competition. I'm just saying, you haven't got nothing on me and Lynden, and you wouldn't be able to live a day in our shoes. Trust it.
Look, it's just good to have everyone watching the show, and hopefully everyone gets a lot out of it. We've got a comment here from...
I'm a bit fired up tonight, Lynden.
It's all right, mate. Well, geez, that's you could have warned me before we went live, but we'll see how we go. But Shane, boxing fans with you, lads. Really appreciate it. Shane, he tunes in every week. We've had him on on my Talking Boxing show a couple of weeks ago, I think it was. So thanks for watching, Shane, and everyone out there watching. It's much appreciated. Actually, we've got
Don't side chat, Lynden, but can I just let you know about my recent last couple of days?
Yeah, fill us in.
Well, it's my 18th promotion coming up on November the 12th at Hobart City Hall. 5 pro bouts, 12 amateur bouts. The main event, Bo Belbin versus Jaden Riddle for the Super Waterweight Australasian title and state title, plus many other bouts. It's going to be a great card. I went down to Tassie, 7 a.m, had a press conference with the media, TV, paper, done a photo shoot for promotion as well, my brother Wayne Howlett. Then I saw my boxer Joe Corner, picked up some ticket money, went to my cousin Johnny Brown, who's fighting, trained him and got ticket money. Then went to train another one of my fighters, Bo Belbin, and was at the airport, got back to Melbourne at 10 p.m.
Ooh, that's a big day.
Then today, my boxer Bo Belbin sparred Joel Taylor, 8 rounds. And that would have been very competitive. Mm-hmm. Joel Taylor's got very big news, which I won't ruin for him, but that's going to be announced soon.
Nice.
He's got a very big fight in Australia.
Okay.
Very big. Waterweight. So quality rounds, mate, and yeah. So I'll be flat out because I live this game, Lynden. I live it.
Well, we'll cover your show in detail. When is it? A couple of weeks away, is it? So when the fight week, we'll make sure we 2 weeks.
Come down, all our viewers. Come to Hobart, Tasmania, and have a great night and watch good grassroots boxing. Yeah, we're not on TV. We haven't got the fancy chandeliers, but the Hobart City Hall, 100 years of fighting. Archie Moore, the great legendary light heavyweight world champion, fought there, and it's a great venue. So come down, guys. Hobart City Hall, November 12th, Tasmania.
Check it out. Yep, as I said, mate, we'll cover it the week of for sure. I've got a question from James here, but I'll get you maybe to cover it later on. It's a question about yourself. Why did you retire 8-0? There's a little bit of a story to this. You can quickly say it if you want, or you can wait till a little bit later. It's up to you.
Yeah, thanks for the question, James. Look, I was in boxing from 1991. Started as a young kid with my grandfather. I turned pro under Team Fennick, which was, amazing to be under Johnny Lewis first, and then Jeff Fennick. The spar Nadu Hussein, Victor Chinya, love more to do every day. To be alongside Shannon Taylor, Sakio Binker, Danny Green. I had my debut, and it was 2001, and there wasn't a lot of guys around in my division. And I mean, there wasn't a lot of shows like there is now. All these No Limit and Dean Lonigan shows, and it was just hard to get fights. And being with Team Fennick was amazing, but of course there were so many stars that were obviously higher than me on the pecking order, which 100%. I probably wasn't getting on shows because there were so many guys in front of me, like Skinny, Hussey, Vic, Danny Green, Sakio, Shannon Taylor. So it probably hurt me being in such a star-studded team. So after I had my debut and I wasn't getting many fights, I had to really sort of think about what I was doing. So I had probably 2 fights a year, was inactive, still trained like an animal. And then my last fight was scheduled on the Daniel Gill, Anthony Mundine fight in 2009 in Brisbane at the Boondall Entertainment Centre. And I was fighting a guy from Thailand. I think he just fought Will Tomlinson. And it was a great training camp. I'd done 3 months of training with Billy Hussein. I sparred Love More to Do, Billy Dibb, Victor Chinyan and Mundine all in 10 days. Unfortunately, my opponent failed his blood test and it come back the day of the fight. We weighed in, I met him. His blood test was hepatitis C. Anthony Mundine's manager, Coda Nasser, rang me up and said, Tassie, the fight's off. I broke my heart. I was on pay-per-view. I was a fight before Sonny Bill Williams. This was my time. 20-something years in the sport, and it broke my heart. So after that, I thought, look, I've been in the games since 91. This was 09. And I thought I probably won't get motivated again to be able to do a training camp because I was fighting at like 59 kilo, 60 kilo. So I was in the sauna my whole life, eating fruit and veg. So, look, I had a good career. I probably could have done more things. I wish I knew then what I know now, and I would do things differently. But as I said, I'm blessed to have the respect from my peers, the Costa Zoos, the Jeff Fennicks, the Billy Husseins, the Dave Birchwoods, the Skinny Husseins. They're all family, and that's what really makes me proud.
Well, that was the Tassie Brown show. Now we get on to the Boxing Deep Dive show, and but keep those questions coming, guys, because I'm sure you guys out there, everyone does a research. But if you've got any questions to ask Tassie or myself,
I should ask why Lynden Hosking didn't turn pro.
I get asked that all the time.
He was a beast of an amateur. He was a beast.
A little bit too smart for that, mate, and I made a good decision to retire and get married. Best things I've ever done. Marry my beautiful wife Tara and go into business. So, but anyway, let's get on with the show anyway, mate. Great to have you along. As I said, Noonan boy's over. So Nick Noonan's overseas somewhere, and Pete's got the show. So it's just us, but which is even better. Gives you guys a bit more chance to get some questions or comments in there. So the comments section is there. Put them in there, and we'll see how we go. All right, mate. So we've got all the Aussie news and we've got the world news, plenty on both. And then if we get time, we'll go through the men's and women's top 10. And I want you to see what you think. I did it on the Talking Boxing show on Monday in depth, but I just want to get your opinions of it and anyone else's opinion out there as well. I know I'll get told I know shit about boxing, but we'll see how we go. On to the Aussie news, mate. So, excuse me. First off the rank, a big fight this weekend. It is a IBF cruiserweight elimination fight. It is, of course, Jason Whateley and Matus Mastanak. It's in Poland. Big test for Jason Whateley.
Yeah, it's a great test. Marcus Amada's a good friend of mine, great coach. I know Jason Wheatley well. He was an Olympian, great amateur. And I think, the Jai Patea fight for the IBF title is the prize, I think, for the winner. So this would be massive. If Jason can win on the road, come back and fight Jai, who they fought in the amateurs a few times, and fight it for a hometown Australian world title. So there's a lot of stake for Jason, and I'm very confident that he can have the skills to bring this home.
It's an interesting one, isn't it? Because he's only 10-0, and with all due respect to Jason, his quality of opposition in comparison to Masternak is nowhere near it. Masternak's 46-5, fought for interim world titles, a lot of European titles, regional titles, all the rest of it. So he's very, very experienced. I think probably his biggest fight was a loss to Tony Bellew. I think it was. So he's got good credentials. But you got to give credit to Jason Whateley after 10 fights to go to the other side of the world into this guy's hometown and put it all on the line. If he wins, he's more than deserving of a shot at Jai Patea.
Yeah, they moved him pretty fast, obviously, and let's hope that he's up for it. I'm sure he is. I'm sure he's leaving no stone unturned in training camp. As I know, Marcus is, he's a good coach. He's very on point. So, mate, I wish him all the best, and let's get it done for Australia.
Yeah, for sure. So I'm not quite sure the viewing links and all that sort of stuff. I think I did see they were going to release it. So if it comes through, we'll put it on our Instagram or something like that. But so or just check social media somewhere. I'm sure someone's got it up. Ozboxing, Oz Central, one of those will put it up anyway. So, but yeah, big fight. That's this weekend in Poland. Jason Whateley and Matus Masternak. From really good news to, I'm not sure whether it's bad news or disappointing news. It's gone a little bit sour in Team Cambosis. Been sued by his ex-trainer and manager for up to $1 million Australian. It's amazing how quick things can go. And I suppose the one thing I will say, Tassie, is that there's always two sides of a story. So we're certainly not, casting aspersions, but it's just disappointing that it's come to this after what has been a really successful 12 months for the team.
Yeah, they had a great journey together. Longer than 12 months together. Peter Khan is great at what he does. He obviously got him the Lopez fight, and obviously done the deal for the Haney fight. The coach there, he's a great, lovely guy. I got to spend some time with him when he was here for Gambosis. Haney won, Javier. And look, as I said, there is two sides to every story. There was also, Bill Ackaway, Mick Ackaway.
Yeah.
Mick Ackaway was, he left after the Lopez fight as well. So, look, I'm not saying there's a pattern there, but, it's a shame to see this go on because George has had such a great 12 months, as you said. But, obviously something has happened and it needs to be settled. You know what I mean?
Just got to wonder about the timing too. Apparently the lawsuit was filed 3 days before his fight with Haney, the second one, which is not great timing if you didn't know about it with the mindset. But apparently, again, we won't get into all the nitty gritty of it. That's not really our business. But apparently the allegations are is that they're owed money from, Peter Khan, from the first fight as far as his cut goes, and then the second fight as far as just being in negotiations to secure the rematch and everything else. And then Javier's obviously got his hand out for the last fight as well. So let's hope they sort it out peacefully and amicably, and we can just get on with it all. But I wasn't really going to touch on it, but look, it is Aussie boxing news, so I've just got to put it out there and hopefully it gets
100%,
resolved.
Lynden. Like I said, we're not in the know, mate. So, look, all the best to everyone, all parties, mate, involved, and let's hope that it gets settled amicably and the right people, whether it's right or wrong, the right people get reimbursed or they don't get reimbursed, whatever. Whoever's in the right comes out on top. Yeah.
And unfortunately, mate, more bad news. You broke the news last weekend. Paul Fleming, Bilal Dib is off. Now, you broke this...
This is bullshit.
Yeah, you broke this live last Thursday night. You got on the phone and messaged whoever you had to, and it took about, 4 or 5 days after that for it to be officially confirmed. But either way, it's just a shame the way it's all happened.
Bullshit. Listen, look, I love both guys. I love Paul Fleming. He's a dear friend of mine. I'm good friends with Bilal Dib. And we all know my connections, if you don't know, to Body Punching Billy Hussein, family to me, not friends, family, they're my brothers. This would have been a great fight. Look, I think it's bullshit, and I'm sorry, the Dean to pull the fight. and people, because there's a few things said at the press conference, that was nothing. You know what I mean? Worried about what would happen at the venue. Look, I know a lot of my Lebanese brothers up there, mate. I think that this has been overplayed and oversold, and just scared for no reason. The boys wouldn't have done nothing wrong. It would have been a good fight between both these guys, and it's a shame that people have pulled out of it, being Penrith Panthers
Fox.
or DNL. But I think it's a joke. I know a lot behind the scenes, and I wish both boys well. But this would have been a good domestic fight, which they both actually needed. They needed each other, and I think that it's a shame. But I don't think it should have been cancelled. I think it's absolute bullshit.
Yeah, that was one of the questions I was going to ask you. I mean, I understand. I saw the press conference live, and it's on YouTube if you want to check it out. But I did see. Look, is it an overreaction? I know there was some words said.
Of course, it's an overreaction, mate. It's only because the boys are Lebo, mate. Everyone's scared. Mate, most of my brothers, best friends are Lebanese. So it's a load of shit, mate. And look at all the heated press conference that happens in the world.
Yeah.
Tyson and fucking people biting and punching and people calling each other's wives' names. I mean, the fights go ahead. Look at the shit with the UFC, throwing bottles. Conor McGregor smashed some windows. So this is a big overreaction. And I think the promotion and all that, they got a bit scared.
And on a more recent note in Melbourne, of course, was Michael's Rafa Isaac Harbin, where there was actually punches thrown and there's an all-in brawl, and that went ahead. So look, I don't know. Again,
it's a load of shit.
We don't know the whole story, but it just seems odd that.
I know a lot of the story.
Okay, well, but it just seems.
I'm heavily in the know because my brother trains Bilal Dib, so I'm heavily in the know.
Yeah, either way you look at it, that's just a shame.
I love Famo. He's one of the best boxers in the country, and he's a great guy as well. So it is what it is. It's sad, but what do you do?
Yeah, exactly. Well, let's get on to some good news. We just had a couple of bad news stories. A good fight that's been signed. I'm really happy about it. Lucas Brown, Joseph Goodall, good fight confirmed for December 8th in Brisbane.
Surprised by this because I thought Lucas, coming off their big win, would hang out before maybe an international fight, something a bit bigger. So he's taken on Joseph Goodall, who's a young guy in his prime. So been a bit shocked by this.
Yeah, well, I think Lucas Brown obviously had the case with Daniel Dubois where it was cancelled because of his age, 43 years of age, which is ridiculous. He's just after the biggest fights. I know he did mention Dempsey McKean and Justice Hunting. I'm sure one of those two fights might happen in the near future. But look, I'm happy that he got a fight, but I'm also surprised and pleasantly surprised that Joseph Goodall's taken this fight at this stage of his career because he had the loss against Hunty. He had the last win, which is so-so, just a win. So I'm surprised he's going to risk it against Lucas Brown, but as boxing fans, we're the winners.
Yeah, mate. Look, lately Australian fighters have been fighting only the best. We're fighting each other, which is, we're in a really good era of boxing in Australia, and this is the reason why. Guys are fighting each other, and obviously the money's there to pay them, which is the major thing. The money's there to pay them from the TV. So the guys are saying, yeah, let's do it.
I'm not exactly sure who the promoter is. He's on a charity event, so I'm not quite sure who it is. I'll find that out. But either way, it's apparently it's some sort of fundraiser or charity or something, and this is the main event of the night. They must have some corporate fights underneath.
Well, my very good friend Stevie Scanlon manages Joseph Goodall.
Okay, so he'll know.
So I wouldn't be surprised if Stevie's got something to do with it. He's a great guy. He manages Dennis Hogan, Joseph Goodall, and many other great Australian fighters. And he's big sponsors of Tim Tszyu and and a lot of the quality fighters in Australia.
I think he's over in Puerto Rico at the moment. I'll get to that in a sec.
The WBO conference.
I've got a comment here from old mate Big J. We know him really well, of course. Evening, boys. Lynden, very interesting to hear your top 10 list for both men and women. Excellent that Brown is keeping active. That's Lucas Brown. We'll see how we go when I'll put the list up whether you agree with it, old mate.
Big J, the big fella. Shout out, fella.
But I'll put it up soon, mate. I did have it on Monday night on the show in case you missed that. But I'll put it up. I just want Tassie's opinion and all you guys' opinion out there as well. Another comment there. Brown versus Goodall, definitely a KO finish. What do you reckon, Tassie? How do you see the fight going when they do fight?
Mate. Well, look, I thought Big Daddy was gone after the Gallen loss. Surprised Junior Farr. I think Goodall's going to be too young and too good a boxer. I think Goodall wins on points.
I think I agree with you. But Big Daddy, all it takes is that one punch. I suppose the thing that probably makes me lean towards Goodall is that he fought Django Tupali. I think that's how you pronounce it. But he who obviously had just had a really good win on the Cambosis Haney on the card, but he was pretty much outboxed by Django on that card, who's about 5'10", and was outboxed until Django started to tire, and then he wore him down. So based on that, I think I'm going to go for Goodall. But that right hand that old Junior Farr knows more, a lot more about, is always there. So look, who knows? But we'll cover that obviously in the lead up to that. And one more Aussie fight I want to bring up to you, mate, and I'm curious about your opinion on this one. Sam Solomon, Joel Camilleri. It's December 9 in Melbourne on Big Time Boxing at Melbourne Pavilion. What are your first thoughts?
Mate, it was meant to happen a while ago. Look, good luck to him. I'm happy it's happening. I'm happy for Joel to get his chance to come back and fight in front of his home crowd. Sam is a warrior, legend, a world champion. Some say, how long will he keep fighting for? But, he's fit and he's healthy. So, look, mate, it's an awkward fight. We know that. They're both very unorthodox fighters. Sam's sort of at the end of his career, and Joel is probably in his prime. Mate, but look, it's two good Victorian fighters, two good Australian fighters, and it's, and they're both very awkward, mate. So, look, it's probably going to be, look, I probably feel sorry for the referee. There's going to be a lot of, but listen, great to see it. They're both good guys, and I hope that they get a good crowd, and they're both paying their dues to Australian boxing. Joel's a lovely guy, and he's one of the best self-managed, he's managed by people.
Self-promoters.
Self-promoters there is, and I respect that. So I consider myself as one as well. And and Sam Solomon is a former IBF world champion who's given guys like Winky Wright and Jamal Taylor trouble. So, look, good luck to you guys. And look, Lynden, your boxing career only lasts that long. So, make the most of what you can. So, Sam's still going. He's still getting up every morning and doing the hard work. So, good luck to him.
Yeah, I agree. And again, I touched on this on Talking Boxing on Monday night. My opinion of it is that while on one hand I would really like to see Sam give it away, you can't really sort of speak for him. You're a long time out of the sport. He's been in it such a long time. He's been in some really big fights, and as long as he's not getting knocked around and hurt, I don't really see the harm in it. But I'm with you. I'm like, as far as a referee goes, it's going to be not the prettiest fight. But the good thing is it's in Melbourne. They're both going to make a shitload of money out of it, I think. So good luck to them. But as I said, as long as Sam's not getting knocked around, I suppose you're a long time retired, aren't you?
Lynden, 1 second. I've got a surprise special guest coming up.
Yep.
Undefeated, super waterweight, Bo Belbin.
Bo, how are you, mate?
You well?
Bo Belbin, there you go. Fighting November 12th. Who are you fighting?
Jaden Riddle, mate.
Jaden Riddle. All right. Well.
Yeah, Jaden Riddle, Bo 6-0, fighting for the Australasian Super World title and state title, and obviously a good win there. If we're lucky, we'll get the win. Work hard. We could be fighting Akita Zoo again. The fight's been re-offered again by Matty Rose, so we'll see what happens there.
No, awesome. Well, all the best,
Give
mate.
him a follow on social media, guys. Bo Belbin, he's a great young man and a great young boxer.
Well, there you go. You heard it here first. Might be a potential opponent for Nikita Zoo, so keep a lookout for Bo. What is it? 6-0, isn't it?
Yep, correct.
Yep.
Correct.
The pride of Tasmania.
5 by knockout.
5 by knockout. So the new king of Tasmanian boxing, Bo Belbin.
See you later, guys.
All the best, mate. All right. Anyway, so as I said, as long as they make some good coin, then all the best of them. I've got Shane here. What's he said? That fight's light. 2 1,000-piece jigsaw puzzles put together in one box. Yeah. Look, it won't be pretty, let's face it, but they've both got very, very big supporter bases, very loyal fans, so I'm sure they're all used to the way they fight. I'm sure it'll be a big night at the Pavilion in Melbourne on December 9th. All right, let's get into the last thing of the Aussie boxing scene, mate. It's not really news as such, but Andrew Maloney's over in Puerto Rico at the moment. Now he's pushing his case, the WBO to fight our man on screen there, Kazuto Ioka. He's the WBO champion. A little bit of a spanner in the works, though. There are talks that Ioka's going to fight Franco, of course, who Andy fought 3 times on December the 31st. Strada and Gonzalez are locked in for the other unification fight, so he might be sort of waiting a while, but hey, you've got to go over there and push your case if you want to get the title shot.
Yeah, I seen Andrew and Tony Tollins was over there, and I don't know much about this guy. What's he like, Lynden?
He goes all right. I think Andy, this is definitely the one. They're obviously targeting the WBO title, which obviously this guy holds. I think he's the best one to target. I think he's very, very matches up very well against Andy as far as styles go, and I reckon Andy gets the job done. He's not really a Franco type that's a good boxer, just good skills. He's Japanese fighter, all heart. He comes at him. So I just think this is the style that's custom made for Andy. I think he can get the job done if he gets the opportunity. Franco gets the fight first. Well, maybe there won't. If Franco beats him, that fight might not happen because there's no way I don't think he's going to fight Andy for a 4th time. So then he's got to go to the other side with Estrada or Gonzalez, which is obviously the harder side. Anyway, but you've got to put yourself in the mix to give yourself the best opportunity, which is what he's doing.
Yeah, that's all you can do, then you've got to be there, mate. Yeah.
Yep. All right, let's get on to some world news, and a little bit going on at the moment. Probably the top of the agenda is probably not the most exciting news I suppose we could hope for. It's, of course, Tyson Fury, Derek Chisora 3, December 3 in London. I'm not sure whether we might have mentioned this last week. It might have been on the cusp of getting signed, but, I mean, what are your impressions of it? Now it's actually been done. They're trying to sell it as a very even fight, a fan-friendly fight. They're saying there's 50,000 seats sold already. Are they really trying to pull this over us, or is it legit, you think?
Yeah, mate, I've got no idea, mate. I'm all about keeping active and all that stuff, but I mean, I don't know how this fight makes sense and how it sells. And I mean, Tyson Fury, obviously he's a name himself, and people might go to witness Tyson Fury because he might not be around much longer, but he always threatens us with retirement. But I don't see this fight. I've got no interest in it at all. I mean, I don't really,
No, me either. And look, Tyson Fury, like, he is a great self-promoter, but I think even in this instance here, even Tyson Fury is going to really struggle to sell this fight. I know Chisora, there might be a manufactured push and shove at some stage and a bit of war of words to maybe spark things up, but I don't know. The fact I reckon they sold 50,000 tickets in the first couple of days and it only seats 60-odd thousand, so there's going to be a sellout. Look, hey, hopefully it's right, but I must admit, if it's $60 here in Australia, there's no way I'm going to buy it.
Yeah, mate. Look, I don't see how this fight makes sense, mate. But I mean, look, they're going ahead with it, obviously. So, what can you say?
My theory on it is that because Joshua apparently is going to fight in December or January or whatever, is that they get Fury to get this just tune-up fight under his belt at the start of December. Joshua gets a similar warm-up fight maybe late December or early January, and then Joshua and Fury fight mid next year. I think that would probably make the most sense. If that's the case, no drama, but I just wish they'd probably come out and sort of tell us sort of that's the plan. But to try and sell this fight to us as a legitimate title fight. I mean, Chisora's lost 3 of his last 4. He's been beaten by Fury twice easily before. It's a very, as I said, it's a very, very hard sell.
Is it for the title?
Yeah, WBC title, yeah.
Fuck, how's he get the title shot when he's lost 3 of his last 4?
Oh, well, I suppose they've, got the contacts, I suppose. Old Bob and Frank at the back there, so anything can happen. But anyway, it seems to be the night for this, by the way. I've got more bad news because Terence Crawford has signed to fight David, how do you pronounce it? Avanesian, or how do you pronounce it? December 10 in Omaha, Nebraska. The Spence fight's fallen over. Again, there's all different things going in all directions, but either way, we haven't got the fights. Crawford and David Avanesian, or however you pronounce it.
Yeah, the fact that Crawford and Spence isn't fighting is criminal. It's a bad for boxing. And I'm really disappointed to hear it. Tommy Hearns fought Ray Leonard for the undisputed welterweight title. Felix Trinidad fought Oscar De La Hoya for the undisputed welterweight world title. Floyd Mayweather finished up fighting Manny Pacquiao for the welterweight world title. Crawford and Spence are the two best in the division. They've got all the belts. It's the biggest fight in boxing, bar none. Bar none. Biggest fight in boxing. For true boxing people,
Yep.
it's bigger than Joshua Wilder, Joshua Fury and Usyk. It's bigger than Lomachenko, Haney, Lomachenko, Shakur. It's bigger than anyone. Crawford Spence is the biggest fight in boxing, and it's not happening. Why? It's wrong, and I'm disappointed to hear it.
Yeah, you're right. Apparently, when you look at both sides, Crawford was saying that he was ready to go. He agreed to everything. Then there was the percentage fiasco with the expenses and all that sort of stuff. Then apparently they were waiting on contracts that never came. So he wanted to fight. He obviously had this fight in the background, almost ready to go. From the Spence side of things, they're saying, well, hey, we gave him a contract. We didn't hear from him for 2 or 3 weeks, so we can only do so much. And it's obviously had this fight ready to go. I do agree that Crawford would have had this fight with this guy ready in the background, but I don't agree with the fact that he had this fight planned and he planned to go ahead with it instead of Spence all the time. He wanted this fight. But again, there's egos and all the bullshit that goes on behind the scenes. At the end of the day, again, we haven't got the fight.
Yeah, 100%, Lyndon. I mean, I don't doubt Crawford. I don't doubt that he didn't want it. I know he wanted it, but it's just, I mean, Innes. I mean, he can throw a spanner in the works and beat both of them. But I like to see Crawford and Spence fight to give us whoever's the best, and then fight Jared Innes or even Virgil Ortiz.
Yeah, you can see James there. Spence looks like he's been mandated to fight Ennis. That's the other side of the coin, is that Boots Ennis is now, his team has now pushed the WBO, is it? Or one of them to say, well, not WBO, because Crawford's got that one.
Yeah, no, he's talking about Crawford, isn't it? Saying Spence has been his mandated.
Spence. Yep. So now they're saying, okay, the Crawford fight's fallen over. We're willing to step aside for that. And then now that that's off, now we want to push for our mandate, and that's what's going to happen. So Spence might be having to fight Ennis, which is a very, very risky fight to have if you've got Crawford in your sights down there. And the other thing is, Spence and Crawford, I suppose, have both threatened to then go to super welterweight. So the fight might not ever happen. Strange as it might seem, it might not ever happen.
Yeah, or might not. Yeah, but Ennis probably beats both of them, to be honest with you. So and they both threaten to go up to light middleweight, so you never know, mate. They could fight our boy Tim Tszyu once Tim Tszyu knocks out Charlo.
Yeah, well, you can see there, Shane, there, Oscar said these guys risk injury a lot, and he's 100%. Back when, I say back when, we're only talking, 15, 20 years ago, when the De La Hoyas and those types of guys and Trinidads and Mosleys, and they just fought everyone. I'd long for those days. We could go here on all night about that, but he's right. I mean, the fight might not happen. Fight now. Your legacy suffers more by not fighting than actually fighting and losing, I think. Both their legacies suffer. Thanks, Luke. It was the IBF title, so Boots Ennis is pushing for that, as he should, I suppose. It's probably maybe been paid step-aside money or promised a shot at the winner, whatever it might be. But either way, the fight's fallen over, so push for your mandatory. So don't blame him. But I don't know. It's just an absolute circus. But it just seems like every week we're talking about the circus of boxing. Every week there's something. And these guys, they do way more talking and negotiating and slagging each other off than actually fighting. And it's what's wrong with the world of boxing these days. But anyway.
100%, mate. 100%.
All right, more good news. The man is back. Vasily Lomachenko is fighting Jermaine Ortiz this week at Madison Square Garden in New York. Good news story because if he wins, the odds are he'll fight Haney. It throws a lot of other fights in the mix. So it's great to have him back.
It's great to have Lomachenko back. He's one of my favourite fighters, has been since his first Olympic gold medal in 08, Beijing, and then obviously in London in 2012. He's had 2 good wins since the loss to Lopez. This will be his 3rd if he gets past Ortiz. I don't know a lot about Ortiz, but I'm sure he's handy. And then he's in the mix to fight Haney. Could fight Shakur Stevenson. There's a bit going on, but it'd be good to see Loma back.
Yeah, and a quick comment from Luke about the Spence Crawford fight. Yep, I agree, mate. Don't think the fight happens. Yeah, I hate to say it, but it's looking more and more likely. But anyway, we'll see. The amazing thing too, I think, Tassie, looking at Lomachenko's record, he's only had 18 fights. He's probably been a pro for about 10 years and only had 18 fights. It's not a lot, is it? Ortez is 16-0-1 and probably been pro for half of that time. He's had just as many fights. But hey, it's a classic case of quality over quantity, I think, isn't it?
Yeah, well, man, he's world title fight, his second fight. So, I mean, his fights have always been big fights.
Yep.
And he's a free division.
From his second fight he had.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah, he fought for the world title and lost, obviously, in his second fight, and then has just been an absolute superstar since. But, yeah, it is amazing. He's only had 18 fights in 10 years.
Salido, I thought he probably should have got the decision there.
I thought he should have too.
He missed weight too, Salido, on that. But, I mean, yeah, but I'll tell you now, Lynden, I'm not just saying it, mate, but, geez, I'm sad that Peter's not here tonight because I feel like I'd beat him. I don't think he'd get a question tonight. I think I'm on fire, mate. I'm just a walking, talking boxing encyclopedia. So, Splinters Maniatis, when you're ready, I'm here waiting for your son.
Well, hopefully next week he'll be refreshed after the weekend's
fights.
fights.
Our viewers, our beautiful viewers, do you want to see me and Peter Maniatis go back out in the quiz again, guys? Please comment now. Show me the support for the quiz. Bring the quiz back.
We want it back.
Bring the quiz back. Get the signs up. Start protesting. Bring the quiz back.
We haven't done it for a while.
Who wants to see me thrash Peter Maniatis?
I think they all do. Everyone except Pete, of course. All right, last bit of international news before we get into the pound-for-pound list. Katie Taylor also is back this week. Just a superstars. Katie Taylor, she's fighting Karen Carbajal. 19-0 is Carbajal, and Katie Taylor 21-0. This is the O2 Arena in London, so this should be another big weekend for women's boxing.
Yeah, this is well, man, women's boxing. What can you say?
Fire.
It's bloody phenomenal, man. We had a Clarissa Shields fight last week. All the girls were, only all girl fights, and now this one with Taylor. Australian scenes, kicking off. Ebony Bridges, Shannon O'Connell, Sky Nicholson. So much going on, mate. It's unbelievable.
Did you see? We're getting off topic here with this fight. Did you see during the week that Ebony Bridges has now brought up? She put it on her social media about Shannon. Why haven't you submitted yourself or registered for the PED testing and all the rest? So that's correct. And I think it actually got a headline in England, I think, in one of the papers over there. So the shots are starting to be fired. We're only 6 weeks out. I can't wait till they're actually face-to-face in England because I've got a feeling it's going to get pretty spicy over there.
Yeah, well, what can you say, mate? That's them sort of accusations. That's pretty average, mate. But it'd be interesting, mate. You know what I mean?
I've got here. Ross has said, "Bring back the quiz." Yes, well, we need people to be on it though. Unfortunately, Ross, Noonan boy's not really enthused about being on it. We could get Mike Altamura on, but I'm not sure the reflexes are there to get in first. I don't think he's probably the only one.
Mike could be probably the toughest challenge ever, but I'd still thrash him.
I'll tell you, mate.
Mike, I love you, but I'd still. Mike won't do it though. Mike's too scared that if he beats me, I'll be at his door wanting a rematch. You know what I mean? So anyway, anyone can get it.
We'll get it back. All right, guys. Well, that's pretty much the Aussie and world news. We probably skimmed over it a little bit, but I suppose there's probably not much more to say about it. I want to get on to my top 10, mate. So I've got the men and women's. I'll just put them all up in one hit, go through them. Just wait for me to go through them, and then you can let me have it, and everyone out there as well. So the men's top 10. Number 10, Justice Hooney. Number 9, Dempsey McKean. 8, Paul Fleming. 7, Michael Zarafa. 6, Liam Paro. 5, Andrew Maloney. 4, George Cambosis. 3, Jason Maloney. 2, Tim Zhu. 1, Jai Apataya. What are your thoughts? The top 5 are pretty easy, I will say, or top 6 even. It's probably the bottom that could be a few different fighters.
Yeah, the top 5, top 6 is really, really good.
What do you think of Jason going ahead of George Kambosos?
Yeah, probably too soon.
You think?
I mean, well, look, I love Jason. I love Andrew. I mean, he just went. His 3 fights. It's been against Lopez and Haney, mate. I'd probably just have him still there in third spot. I mean, I'd obviously have my boy Tim where he is, and Jai's got the world title. So, but that's pretty good, mate. Look, and the whole Liam Parra deserves a mention for sure. And the other boys, Michael Zarafa's ranked, in two bodies highly. So, yeah, mate. Yes, it's a pretty good list, Lynden. I think little what's his name's going to be there one day. The little
Sam Goodman.
Bantamweight. Yeah, Sam Goodman.
Liam Wilson, maybe.
Liam Wilson as well, but yeah, probably not yet. So look, that's pretty fair, Lynden.
Look, when I was doing it, like the reason behind George's obviously, like it or not, they've been big fights, but he's lost his last 2 fights, so we've got to take that in consideration. I just think Jason. I did. A couple of people asked, well, why have you got Jason sort of, you've split Jason and Andrew, but I just think Jason's, as far as his career, is probably just a little bit more progressed at the moment. George has obviously been great, but he's lost his last 2 fights, and, he has to slip a little bit. Liam Parra is a no-brainer. Michael Zarafa, I think 8, 9, and 10. I think Justice Honey will probably end up in the top 3 or 4, to be honest, eventually. I think he's an awesome fighter. And Paul Fleming, Dempsey, and McKean. I wasn't overly impressed with Dempsey's last fight, I will say, even though it was a spoiling fight. But I was trying to think who's coming in. Liam Wilson, a couple of fights ago, he was demolished by Ninoy, was it? Ninoy, I think his name was.
Yeah.
Got the result, of course, but I want to see him maybe get a couple more good scalps under his belt. Sam Goodman, I think, look, he's an awesome young talent. I just think he's just still a little bit green at the moment, and probably needs, again, a couple more world-class opponents. And Paul Flemings, of course, he hasn't been overly active, but look, he's got, 21, 22 and 0, whatever it might be. He's been, or it might even be more than that. He's been around a long time. I just think, head-to-head, it's coming down to 50-50 with a Liam Wilson or a Sam Goodman. I think he has to be in there. I did actually contemplate with Dempsey McKean as well of replacing him with a Liam Wilson or Sam Goodman, but I just again think he's had 20-odd wins. I suppose you've just got to have him slightly ahead at the moment. And Justice Honey in there after 6 fights could easily be a lot higher. So it's not an easy task, I will say. It'd be interesting to hear what everyone else out there has to say about it. Did I get it right? I think obviously if Tim wins in January, he'll go to number 1. But then does Jai slip down past Jason and George? Who knows? But we'll cross that bridge.
No, there's no doubt if Tim wins in January, he'll be number 1 for sure.
Yeah, with a bullet by a mile. So, so that's the top 10 Aussie males. Now there's a little bit of a lag involved with this, so I'm sure some comments will come as we go with this from you guys out there. So in the meantime, we're going to bring up the girls. The first time we've done this, I haven't seen another one done. So we've got Shannon O'Connell number 1, Shanika Johnson number 2, Ebony Bridges number 3, Sky Nicholson number 4, Susie Ramadan number 5, Taylor Robinson number 6, Beck Hawker 7, Dee Dee Hobbs number 8, Bang Bang Horton 9, and Ella Boot, even though she's practically a novice, she's pretty much the best of a inexperienced bunch, so I've put her in there. What are your thoughts?
Yeah, I'd have Susie before Sky.
Yep.
Just given her what she's done as a pro, and she only just lost, going up 2 divisions, and she could have easily been stopped. They could have been stopped on cuts. I thought she could have won. So I'd have her there. I've got no problem with Shannon being on top. Johnson, is a world champion, proven, herself. Ebony's proven herself.
Mm-hmm.
Taylor Robinson's a gun, future world champion. No doubt. Beck Hawker's a fucking machine.
Mm-hmm.
Very awesome fighter, WIBA women's champion. I don't know much about Hobbs, Horton, or Boots. I'll probably just have Susie Ramadan above Sky. But I've got no problem with the rest of it. Yeah,
I think Louisa Horton in number 9. See, Hobbs and Horton could have been a lot higher, but it's a little bit of inactivity. Hobbs has fought for the world title twice in the last couple of years and lost both times. But She goes really well, but lost those world title fights, and the last couple of wins have been against. I think one was against a Thai, one was against pretty much a novice. So I think she's got to work her way back. Louisa Bang Bang Horton. Now she was a former WBO world champion, so she's definitely got the runs on the board. The problem is she hasn't fought in 3 years, even though she's still considered active and hasn't retired. She just hasn't been able to get an opportunity. I think she might have one coming up. I know Hobbs has got one coming up in a couple of months' time. So those two girls are probably a little bit below Susie, but around the mark as far as experience goes and runs on the board. But just that inactivity has probably cost them. Ella Boot, trained by Johnny Lewis in the stable with Harry Garside up there. She's a really, really good fighter. She won on the last Newcastle show a few weeks back on the Nikita Zoo and Dennis Hogan card. So really, really good young prospect. And some great young girls coming up. I really like Amber Amelia. I like Tawana Campbell. They've all fought on the Newcastle card. So the fights there, I'd love to see them, mate. And it was actually really good to go through the top 10 because, again, I haven't seen anyone do one. So, and I know you've got to be a little bit careful with what these are, but I can't wait to see. Sorry, to get back to your point, Sky Nicholson, Susan Ramadan, Sky Nicholson one. It's probably more going based on sort of passing each other in, on the ladder as far as their careers go. But I can definitely see your point. But how good is a Sky Nicholson, maybe Beck Hawker fight down the track? I'd love to see maybe Susan Ramadan, Taylor Robinson down the track. Of course, we've got Shannon and Ebony coming up. So some really, really good fights that could be made. But look, I suppose the thing is that Australian boxing in general, but especially the women, is just in such a great condition at the moment that it's just going to get better and better.
Very healthy, mate. No Limit put a lot of women on.
Yep.
Ace Boxing put a lot of women on.
Yep.
It's pretty awesome, mate. Pretty awesome.
And we'll cover the cards next week of the Ace Boxing and also the DNL and Tasman Fighters events as well. Beck Hawker's on. Now, there is a female WIBA title fight. It is, I did have that written in front of me. They have fought before. I'll look it up in a sec, but they're fighting for a WIBA world title on the Ace Boxing card that we'll cover in full as we get to it. A couple of comments coming through, Tassie, about the top 10s. Sam Goodman, Fringe top 10. Yep, that's how I had him. My top 6 are the same. Noted Tassie comment on Cambosis Maloney. Yep, I take that on board. Another one here, Jack Dilks, our good mate Jack.
Jack.
Pretty happy he's a Saints man. That Ross the boss is back. Plus half the ex-play list as assistant coaches, so I'm sure he'll be happy. If Waitley beats Masternak, does he slip in? Well, yes, I think he would almost slip in. Let's go back to the men's top 10 there. Who would you think, if Jason Waitley beats Masternak this weekend, which one of those could he maybe slip in front of, do you think? I'm thinking maybe Paul Fleming or Dempsey McKean.
I'll get rid of Dempsey.
Yeah, okay, yeah. So, yeah, hang on, James' comment on that. Probably, yep. I'm inspired to research a top 20 list for me. Hey, do it, James. Top 20, do it. There's plenty of, look, you could probably have a top 15, but it's always hard when you're trying to squeeze those bottom 2 or 3 guys in. It's pretty tough when you can throw a blanket over about 8 different guys. Old mate, Big J. Susie above Sky. Bar that, I agree. For the boys, George still second, okay? George, Jason, Andrew, Dennis, Sarafa, Zoo, Paro, Brandon, Wilson. Now, is that a typo, old mate? You've got Zoo at 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7th. Hogan above it. No, you can't be right there, mate.
Hang on.
Is that just a roundabout group top 10, not in any particular order? I hope so.
Hogan, who won an IBO title, but got knocked out 2 fights ago against Tim. Above, please tell me no, Big J. No, mate. Seriously, brother. Get Hogan. Get him out of there, mate, above Zoo and Zarafa.
Yeah.
Definitely above Zoo, no way.
Well, with the Dennis Hogan thing, this is probably a serious question to ask. Does he fall into the Costa Zoo sort of bracket where he's fighting in Australia, but he's an Irish fighter fighting in Australia? Or
Doesn't
is he
matter,
lived
mate.
here
The
long enough?
IBO is nothing anyway. Don't
Yeah.
start thinking the IBO is a fucking belt. It's not. And mate, the guy got knocked out, destroyed in fucking 5 rounds recently. So, mate, like, good on Dennis, but please get him. Nah.
You struck a chord there, Big J. But yeah, I agree. Look, I don't know whether it's a roundabout top 10, maybe it is, but I hope you're just taking the piss there, mate. You've got Tim Zoo at 7, below Zarafa, Hogan. Where's Iparo's there?
Tim knocked him the fuck out, so how's he above Tim?
And Lucas Brown, he's got a little bit more work to do, in my opinion, Big J. He only got knocked out a couple of fights ago as well by Paul Gallen in the first round. He's got a few brownie points to pick up, if you ask me. No arguments with Wilson. You could probably have him in there above any of Fleming or McKean or Honey. And I'm glad you like the females. Yeah, look, the Sky and Susie one. Yeah, it's either one, I think. But I take your point there. But yeah, Jai and George 1 and 2. Yep, can't really argue with that. But I think you got to have Tim Zoo in the top 2 or 3, mate. Top 2, if you ask me. But what else have we got here? Typo. Hang on, which one's a typo? Big J. I hope the Tim Zoo one was a typo. We'll give you a chance to retract that. Jay Brown. Controversial, I know, but I actually have Tim at number 1 over Jai. There's no argument with that. More exciting and bigger fighter.
It's all right.
No. Not going to argue with it because, look, I know belts. Look, Jai's got a legitimate belt, of course. The IBF belt is more than 100% legitimate and he earned it the hard way. But do you go by the fact one's a world champion and one's not, and who might be about to be a world champion, or do you go on potential? Do you go on overall ability? I don't know. There you go. He's corrected it there, Tassie. You've upset him now. Zoo over Hogan. There you go.
On you, Big J. On you, brother. You know I've got a hot temper, but it's all good, mate. You're a legend, Big J.
All right. Well, let's get back to that one then. All right. So do you think Tim could be number 1 over Jai?
Me?
Take your Tim Zoo fanboy hat off.
Nah. Don't call me a fanboy. He's a family friend. All right, Lynden.
Fan club, I'll call it.
Oh, I love the kid since he was 3 years old, mate. So, mate, Tim could be whatever. You know, Tim's number 1, 100%. Hey, you know this T-shirt, Lynden?
What's it say there? Is that Canelo on there?
Yeah, mate.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, so keep it coming there, guys. What else? There you go. Old mate Big J. He's backtracking him pretty quickly here, Tassie. If Tim beats Charlo, he's definitely number 1. So he's gone from 7 to 1 pretty quick.
100%.
Alrighty, joking, big mate. Old mate, Big J. Jai and Tim, levels above everyone. Yeah, it's hard to disagree with that. But look, looking at the list there, I really think give Justice Honey another maybe 5 fights, and I think he's going to be at
potentially
the level.
wise. Justin Fortune rates him very highly.
Yeah, so I think him and Jai are pretty. Look, I think I would put Jai just ability to ability. Take out the experience level on the belts one, just fighter versus fighter. I'd probably have Jai fractionally in front of Justice, but I'll tell you what, I reckon Justice Honey's got the potential to be in that top 2 or 3, no drama.
100%.
Got a bit of competition, but isn't it good that we've got right down to number 7, all those guys could be fighting. Well, George obviously just did. Jai's the current world champion. Tim's about to. All those guys in the top 7 could have either just fought for world titles or about to fight.
100%.
It's just amazing.
100%.
And if you look at the females as well, right down to all of those basically, except for number 10, could be either fighting. I think Sky Nicholson fights for a world title within 12 months, and all the others, no doubt at all.
For sure. She will for sure. Thanks, James. Awesome work, mate.
Boxing IQ, Tawa, how do you pronounce it? Tawasi? Where's my man Noonan boy? He's overseas at the moment, mate. He's on holidays. So
he deserves it, mate. He's the hardest working journo in Australia. He, the George Gambosis fight took a lot out of him, and he's on a well-deserved break, mate. Shout out to Nick Noonan boy, my guy.
Yep.
FightHigh.com, baby.
Yep. And obviously Ozboxing Central as well. Check that out.
Ozboxing Central.
Yeah.
Yours truly.
Yeah.
That's right. We get it done, mate. He's got Tassie Brown with him now on the payroll, so we get it done. And I bring exclusives that no one else can get.
So before we finish up here, Tassie, out of all those, obviously Jai Pataya is the number one? Actually, before I get you to answer that, Shane, I reckon by this time next year, Dana Coolwell will be knocking on the door to the top 10, yeah?
Good call. Good call,
Yep.
Shane. Very,
Yep.
very good boxer, Dana Cool. He's a lovely young kid, and I like his style.
Yeah, and he's had the 2 losses, but they were both really close early in his career. I think talking to his promoter Mick Francis, they've just sort of pulled him back just to get a few more fights under his belt. There's no rush. He's only a young guy, and I think he'll be give him another 2 or 3 fights, and he'll be back at that world level again.
100%, without a doubt.
Now, just on that, before we get out of that, Tassie, out of all those guys on there, in the next, let's make it 18 months, how many of those guys could be world champion within 18 months? Well, obviously, we've already got one at the top.
Let me go. Let me have a minute to talk. Joy, obviously, is world champion, so we'll just leave him there. Tim Tszyu will be world champion next year.
It's 2.
Jace Maloney will be world champion next year.
3.
Ange Maloney will be world champion next year. George Gambos will have a big fight next year, but I think the current guys with the belts, he'll give them a good go, but I don't think he beats them.
Mm-hmm.
Liam Parrow will fight for world title next year. I can't say he'll win it because there's some good fighters there, but he'll fight for one. Zarafa will probably fight for world title this year. Next year, depends who it is. You know, he could probably beat the Brazilian guy, but if it's Triple G, to be tough. But he's got a chance depending on the opponent, and that's it. Yeah. So I think Tim, Jason, and Andrew will win world titles.
Yeah.
And the others, George, Liam, and Michael will fight for him. Michael has a chance depending, as long as it's not Golovkin.
Well, that was the other question I probably should have asked first. How many of those do you see fighting for a world title within 18 months, and how many do you think win? I think all of them maybe.
I think 7 fight for world title.
Yeah, I can't see Paul fighting for one very soon. I can't see Justice fighting for one. Oh, maybe 18 months. Who knows? Maybe he could. George is going to be tough to get back up there in such a hot division. And Dempsey McKean, who knows? With Eddie Hearn, there's already talk about him maybe fighting Joshua at some stage. So who knows? Could be a question or a comment from Shane. Actually, be awesome to put a date in the diary to review this list in 1 year's time and see the changes. Yeah, we might do that. I'll put this aside and we'll revisit it. We might even do it in every quarter, every 3 or 3 months, maybe 6 months, whatever it is, and just go back over it and see how much it's changed. I tend to put this up, don't I? Probably every 3 or 4 months I'll put it up. So we might do it on a more regular basis. Luke Jai is a ring champion. Yeah, well, that's not very common. George is the only one that was the ring champion. Charlo would have to be the ring champion, wouldn't he, as well?
No doubt.
He just 100%. Hasn't paraded it as much, I don't think.
He's got all the belts.
Yeah. Because the ring magazine's more awarded, isn't it? And it just sort of goes along with the dominant world champion.
Yeah, but why did Usyk get the ring magazine? I mean, Fury should still be the ring magazine champion.
Yeah, definitely.
Why did Usyk get it the other day for?
Yeah, I agree. I think Fury's
He beat Klitschko. He had it from day one beating Klitschko, even when he retired.
Yeah.
Then he beat Wilder twice. I mean, why did Usyk recently get a fight? I understand.
Yeah, exactly. All right, guys. Well, that's probably about it for tonight's show. I think we've covered everything. I think, we've gone through it all there. Big thanks to everyone watching, guys. Especially with Boxing IQ. I'm sorry, mate, I don't know your real name. Obviously, Boxing IQ from Tampa Bay in the USA, if you will, Tassie. So, international viewers.
Thank you for watching.
One last question here. Pound for pound rule. It's not about yesterday. It's not about tomorrow. It's about now. Hey, good point, James. Not talking potential. Talking about right here and now. So well said, James.
Well said, James.
All right. So I'll get back up there. All right, guys. Well, thanks very much for tuning in. I hope you're really liking the fact we're going live every Thursday night. We'll be on YouTube straight afterwards.
It's good.
And
the
then
comments and that. It's great to have our the viewers inside. It's good,
Yep, and if you're listening after the fact, look out for Spotify as well. Make sure you subscribe to our YouTube and Instagram channel or pages as well.
Peter, where are you, Peter? Peter, if you can hear me, Peter, I'm coming for you, Peter. I want to eat your children. Peter, I want your blood.
You're going to get
Peter.
us banned off YouTube, I think.
I want to destroy you. I want to embarrass you on Boxing Deep Dive. Come back to the quiz, Peter. I'm here waiting for you, my friend. God bless you.
All right, guys. Thanks again. We'll see you next week. See you, Tassie.